Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Welcome to DGI-358 and I'm joined by my co-host Sridhar Chityalaji. Sridharji, Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Namaskar. Good morning to everybody on the day after the Fed hike.
Sridharji, a very important announcement by the Federal Reserve. They have raised rates by 0.75% and possibly two more rate hikes coming in the next 6 months. Now, will this give the market some sort of stability, saying that yes, the rates are coming and these are the hikes coming, and after that we are going to pause? Is that going to say pause, or what exactly is the Fed saying, sir?
I think first, to answer your question, there is some clarity in the direction to the markets. First, the markets expected 75 basis points. You remember I was saying that they could go up to 100 basis points.
Right.
But the markets win on the 75 basis points. On the second piece, which is equally important, is that they have raised the rates. They put the cap to now 4.6% from 4%, which was which we have been predicting that it will be somewhere between 4.25 to 4.75%. I think that's what is worrying the markets in terms of what is to come. The markets now not yet has reacted. They will probably absorb. And this basically implies that this is going to be a hard landing for United States, not a soft landing as was being contemplated given the circumstances. So it's going to be a hard landing from an economic point of view. The data points, not Biden is of course in denial. We have had two quarters of contraction. And then we have had, a GDP which Fed estimates to be, to be 0.2%, which is quite abysmal on the back of where we came from in 2020-21, sir. So to give you the gist, as the markets assume stability, markets are absorbing 75 basis points they've taken in, markets have reacted, but I think more to come as they begin to assimilate this 4.6%. Already, the T-bond rates, especially the 10-year, 2-year, is gone past 4%.
And the mortgage rates are set to cross 6.1%. And as the rate hikes and stimulus programs start rolling out, these are expected to add $3.1 trillion to the United States GDP. Sounds impressive, but it's also going to come at the cost of industry slowing down. So somewhere you get something, somewhere you lose something, isn't it, Sridharji?
It is. I think just to stand, a little bit of a correction, Deji, we're going to add $3.1 trillion to the total debt. Okay.
Oh,
so
okay.
We are already $30.8 trillion, $31 trillion. We're going to add these stimulus programs in conjunction with the rate hikes is going to add another $3.1 trillion to the US debt. Okay. So we're going to accelerate. Why? Because the cost of interest on the debt is going to skyrocket. During the Trump regime, we were between 1% and 2% of the GDP. Under the Biden regime, the outer years, we're going to see close to 3.3% of the GDP being added as an interest cost to serve the debt that United States has. We'll probably do a separate session as to what these consequences are. And people will be surprised to know or surprised to find that the interest cost may even exceed the Social Security and Medicare cost to become the number one line item on the expense side of the US budget. So none of these news is very good news for United States as far as United States is concerned. In summary, this whole thing has been a flop, Sriji.
So everything now is being kicked faster down the road. The can is being kicked faster down the road. I don't know what the future generations will look at and tell us how we botch it, but at least they'll say that at least P Gurus was making a lot of noise about it. That's all we can do at this point of time. As Turkey inflation rises to 80% and above, they are reducing the central bank rate from 13% to 12%. And New York Attorney General files lawsuit against Trump companies alleging fraud. Trump, in an interview in Hannity show, says it is a continuation of the witch hunt. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Now let's take a look at what Putin is saying. Putin threatens nuclear escalation and calls for reserves. World condemns his action. The Ukrainian leader doesn't believe that the nuclear option will come into play. This is Zelensky, of course. Biden, in his address to UN General Assembly, condemns Russia and Putin's actions. Russian oil continues to flow to Europe via hidden maritime routes via Greece. 41 ship-to-ship transfers as per Nikkei. We're going to show you a drawing showing this. Sridharji, but first, let's take a look at what Putin is threatening, sir. He says that he will go nuclear.
He says all options are under the table, or on the table, not under the table, are on the table, including nuclear, while summoning the reserves. There are two pieces of information coming out. One pro-Russia, one anti-Russia. The pro-Russia is that people are lining up. The anti-Russia are the so-called the alternative view is people are not lining up to join the reserve call, but they're lining up to leave Russia and find an alternative venue. So these are the two different set of newses that are coming out. But has these sanctions worked? The answer obviously is no, based on the amount of oil Russia has sold. And you can see that the Nikkei is now reporting that in the past 6-7 months, they have found, and they have shown in the map, which we have shown here, that there has been at least 41 different shipments that has taken place using this route going into Europe. And these are mid-sea ship-to-ship transfers that have taken place from the Russian hubs. And you can see where the Russian hubs are on the Russian side of the map. So the sanctions are not working. They are not working as effective as one would like. World leaders have condemned Russian action, but Russia says, I will use all options, including nuclear, which has been condemned by many a set of people, even in the United Nations General Assembly, leading with Mr. Biden.
And let's take a look at what is happening in the UN General Assembly. Turkey raises Kashmir and India responds, discussing Cyprus and Greece with Turkey. From France to United States, India is mentioned in its stand against Russia on war. One statement by Modi, and everybody seems to have really recognized that, and that has become a news item by itself. Sridharji, wrap it up for us. This Turkey pulling out or dragging Kashmir to UNGA, very regrettable. Why is Turkey doing this, sir?
I think there are two important data points in the same today's daily global insights. First and foremost, their economy is tanking. So therefore, when your inflation is greater than 80%, would you raise interest rates or would you pull interest rates? Okay, so Turkey is saying, I'm going to pull interest rates, notwithstanding the fact that the inflation is 80%. Okay, they want to probably go 100% the inflation to be. So what does Turkey, Mr. Erdogan, do? He tries to distract himself and demonstrate he's a world leader. So he says he will try to intervene and be helpful in the Ukraine-Russian conflict. And then, which is the country which is making a lot of positive news, not only in United Nations, but in alongside other kinds of activities which we have covered, that is India. India has taken a fairly objective stance in putting the issues on the table without saying, I'm not walking away. So what do? You bring Kashmir into the perspective. The fact that what is going on in Kashmir seems to be ignored by Mr. Erdogan, and he raises this, and India, takes the right approach, which is to say, you first go and sort out your Cyprus and Greece issues, especially the Cyprus issues, before you come and talk about Kashmir. And, so Turkey is trying to make noise to circumvent the issues that they are facing within their own country. Something I would say, I don't want to compare and people, but something similar is happening in United States, where we have so many issues, but we seem to be gallivanting away, talking about different matters.
And as far as the statement of Modi is concerned, this seems to be really reverberating across the West. I think that's a good win-win situation for India. Suddenly, Modi is being written up in a positive way in New York Times and Washington Post.
It is. I think that it suited the left agenda in terms of his narrative, right? So New York Times and Washington Post represent, the left they've always been, while they are left, they have a very interesting perspective on Russia, which is actually communist. But having said that, they have to stand up and, raise their flag for Biden. So what does Mr. Biden, Mr. Modi's statement?
We seem to have
Russia and
momentarily.
India are very strong partners.
Sridharji, you are coming and going, coming and... Sir, can you please start from the last statement, beginning of the last sentence, sir? We lost you for a brief period.
Well, I think that the New York Times and Washington Post are, the pantheons of the left, and his statement comes in very handy. But the fact is, Modi has played by the book, and he has raised the issue, rightly so, almost saying to Russia, you are my friend for decades, but what you're doing is incorrect, reset the course. So clearly he has won the mind and hearts of the world, and especially those who matter in the India strategic corridor, which is France, Germany, some of the Western Europe and ASEAN nations. Of course, Mr. Biden is raising the flag as well.
And viewers, there's some breaking news in India. A lot of PFI members have been arrested across India. There's a detailed video that we put out around 2 o'clock. Do watch that one with Major Madan Kumar. And this brings us to close on today's DGI. We will be back again tomorrow. And please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notification. Thank you, Sridharji. We'll be back tomorrow.
Thank you. Namaskar. Have a wonderful day.